clock. They were one of those teams that came from nowhere, surprised everybody, beat San Diego on that opening Monday night, and were never headed, and they won the division. A year ago, not the same result. The Kansas City Chiefs, who were picking 11th, fell to 7-9. Todd Haley got fired toward the end of the season. Romeo Crennel took over. Romeo won 2 of his 3 games, including the only team in the regular season to beat the Green Bay Packers. Romeo, now the full-time coach, gets another shot. Remember, he was head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And so the Kansas City Chiefs, who also, like Buffalo, had many of their key players injured. Maybe a year removed, they're a team that jumps back in it because of who's coming back and maybe who they're about to pick.
Yeah, if you told me I could have Jamal Charles and Eric Berry and Tony Moeaki and Castle back healthy, I'd say I don't even need to draft. That's how good those players are and how much they missed them. But I think Romeo Crennel is going to be looking at nose tackle right here on his defense. Kelly Gregg, a key component in that 3-4 defense, retired. Dontari Poe, your guy from Memphis, Mel. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a big man to help him on defense.
Well, if that's the one, there's a lot of mixed opinion there. However, well, maybe they're still deciding. Maybe they're reading Edgar Allan Poe's short stories. I don't know. There are some good ones, you know.
He's got a lot of potential.
See, now if I had said that, I'd get ripped for about 3 years. You can go with it. You're the rising star.
I learned quick from you, Chris.
Well, we'll see what the Chiefs do a year removed from the surprise winners of the AFC West.
With the 11th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Dontari Poe, nose tackle, Memphis.
Well, look, Romeo Crennel, defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick, defensive coordinator, defensive coach with Coach Barnes says the big nose is part of what they need. Now, Dontari Poe at Memphis, Mel and John explained to everybody that, to quote Edgar Allan Poe, maybe you might be drinking a cask of Amontillado, depending on how he plays.
Look, tremendous strength and size. His combine number's amazing. He's athletic. I've seen him drop into coverage on zone blitzes. Sideline to sideline range when he turns it on is impressive for a big man. But he does not dominate marginal competition enough for the 2 eyes I have, Mel. A very low factor grade. There are games, I'm watching the Central Florida game, the Southern Miss game. I'm still waiting for Poe to unleash the fury and that God-given talent that he has. He's going to the right place because he's going to meet Romeo Crennel, one of the premier defensive line coaches that have ever coached in this league. And if Dontari Poe buys into it and really buys what Romeo Crennel is selling, the Kansas City Chiefs got a rare physical specimen to anchor this 3-4 defense.
Think about this, John. You think about freakish talent, unbelievable talent. He has it. Haloti Ngata type numbers, 6'3½", 345 pounds. This kid ran a 4.87. That's faster than some linebackers. You talk about 44 reps. That's amazing. 29.5 vertical. The production you alluded to, John, wasn't there on a game-to-game basis. No doubt about that. But he flashed. Occasional penetration. He showed it. 14.5 tackles for loss last 2 years. That's not bad. Played on a team that was out of games early, okay? Not competitive. You think about rotation in the NFL. Won't wear down. You saw that happen with him in some games as well. I think when he's coached up, you hope you can push the right buttons and motivate Dontari Poe to be the player that he's capable of. Haloti Ngata numbers should result in a Haloti Ngata type performance. That wasn't the case. He only had half the tackles. Not his final year at Oregon, Poe's final year at Memphis. Half the tackles for Poe, yet equal ability and talent. John said it, underachiever, needs to take his performance to another level. Can Kansas City motivate him to do it?
If he connects, it's a long home run. If he doesn't connect, it's a big whiff.
You watch the kid, and I'll tell you what, John's right. There are some games where he's quiet, and he shouldn't be. But there are also some games where he flashes, and you watch him here. 6'3.5", 345 pounds. He's the kind of guy, and people say, well, he's going to be a nose tackle. I thought he was better suited to be a 4-3 defensive tackle. We'll see about nose tackle in Kansas City. He's got to get stouter. He's got to get more of an anchor. He's got to be able to be the guy who can take on at center guard and free up those linebackers. He's got to develop a mean streak, something I didn't see at Memphis. But the bottom line with this kid, rare talent. You don't see many guys over the last X amount of years coming out outside of a loading knot and had this type of ability and potential on paper. He flashed it, as I said. Done bet some 14.5 tackles for loss. He got the job done on certain instances in certain games, John, to make you believe that, hey, once he's in the NFL, he's coached up, and then he's paid to play the game of football as a professional, that Dontari Poe realizes all that God-given talent and maximizes his ability at the pro level.
Well, heaven forbid, this has been like satellite radio where you just turn on the station and no breaks. So after a wild first 11 picks here at Radio City Music Hall in the 77th NFL Draft, we return. Pick number 12.